Today, I'm returning to a lake I haven't fished in a long time. I just wrapped up my fly fishing school with Brian Chan at Corbett Lake Lodge in British Columbia, and there's talk of 4 to 5 pound rainbow trout in a lake not too far away that I haven't fished in for years. This is the perfect time of year to search for big, aggressive horsefly strain rainbow trout, and staying here at Corbett Lake Lodge makes it even more exciting. Surrounded by the history of this place, I can't wait to get out in the water. Well, the beauty of Corbett Lake Lodge is you're close to so many other lakes within less than half an hour and sometimes less than 10 minutes. And today we're visiting a lake I haven't been to in many years, and heard some interesting reports, so it's nearby. We're going to go in and have a look. I've been using the Mercury 7.5 electric outboard, and it's a game changer. Super lightweight, easy to lift on and off the boat. The battery gives me hours of quiet runtime, and the instant torque gives smooth, steady propulsion. And the best part? It's whisper quiet. Fish never hear me coming. So whenever you come to a lake, whether it's an old friend you fished many times, or like we're doing today, one I haven't fished in many years, spend 10 or 15 minutes along the shoreline. It just pays huge dividends. I'm going to turn over some rocks and logs and look around. If I was a little more prepared, I'd have a little cheap aquarium net, but I don't. I just want to see what's going on. It really gives you an idea of what food sources are available. I'd expect to see scuds, dragonfly nymphs, leeches, maybe some case caddis, things like that. But again, just investing time around the boat launch just before you push off saves you a ton of time trying to figure things out when you've already got an idea what may or may not be on the menu. This is one of the most exciting times of year to be fishing Stillwater in British Columbia. There's already some action on the water. A local guide I met at the boat lodge has hooked into one right away. That's a good sign. Well, we just moved out from the launch. I'm taking things slow. I'm looking on the water. Got the polarized glasses on so I can see fish cruising. To be really optimistic, I can see any cast shucks from the previous day's hatch or an early morning hatch. I can see food sources like a leech or a damselfly nymph that might be swimming by. I'm looking around for moving fish. I've seen a couple rolling around. There's fish moving straight out ahead. See the little rings. I'm gonna go investigate that. Water temperature is 57. There's a fish rolled right there. They're rolling out there. There's another one out there. I call it the 2 fish rule. See 2, go to them. Well, I gotta check. First thing I gotta do is check my leader length, because we are in, well, it's real shallow there, but this just slopes off into deep water. So I always love the edges of drop-offs. It's a natural area for fish to transit by. They can zip up on the shoal, get a bite to eat, feed out in deep water. I'm thinking of starting to hang in a small leech off the bottom because we're not seeing any hatch yet, and just frankly give them something a little big for breakfast maybe, and then from there we can do a throw pump and see what's going on, because I'm not seeing any shucks. I'm seeing a few small chironomids flying around, probably egg-laying females, but nothing. We've got odd fish rolling around us, so signs of life, so it's good. So we just start experimenting. First thing first is make sure the leader setup's good. I've measured and marked a series of 1-foot lengths on the gunnel of my boat with a permanent marker. This is a quick way for me to measure my leader length, and if I'm using an indicator, to confidently know where to set it. I do want to keep my indicator reasonably close to the end of the fly line. It just makes it easier to cast. So it's cinched tight. Trim the tag end. When it sits underneath the indicator, see, I've got the knot cocked slightly back towards the bend. It will hang pretty well horizontally. Now, of course, catch a fish, aggressive cast, that can knock that out of place, so you've got to check it once in a while. But a great way to get double duty out of one fly, because if I put this on with a non-slip loop non-slip non-slip loop knot like I do for chironomids and other things, I can cast and retrieve, and that'll help jig. But here I want it to hang horizontally and look like a natural leech moving horizontally through the water. So we'll start a foot off the bottom and see where that takes us. So I cast it out, just letting it sit, letting the wind drift it around, that little surface ripple. It's bouncing my indicator. That's going to transmit down to the fly and make it move and come alive. I never stay in the first spot too long, especially if I don't catch a fish. After 10 to 20 minutes, the voice in my head is telling me to move on. Well, first spot, swing and a miss. So we're going to move around, see if I can mark some fish on the sounder. We're moving along the edge of one of my favorite features, and that's a drop-off, a transition from shallow to deep water. It's like a game trail for trout. They love to follow that because they can go onto the shoal, the grocery store, and have an eat, and if something startles them, they got that safety and security of deep water nearby. So we can do pink. We can do pink. In the process of tying a blob on here that serves as an attractor, but also we often use it to suggest a cluster of Daphnia and pick or zooplankton more appropriately, because Daphnia are a type of zooplankton. Whoa, see that fish? Right in front. Yeah. Ooh, that's a nice fish. Ooh, that's a nice fish. That's why we came. Oh, these things got some pull to them. Not quite ready yet. The skunk is out of the boat. Golden sides. These are horsefly strain. So they have a bit of a golden look to them. What a beautiful, healthy fish. Look at that. Really got some. He's not ready for prime time. I was able to get a careful throat sample from that fish to get a better idea of what it had been feeding on recently. Chironomids. Teeny, tiny, and shiny. Olives. Kind of a gunmetal gray, but they're alive and they're small, like 16s. Except for that first fish, there didn't seem to be anyone else home at this spot, and everyone else seemed to be searching too. Finding the fish takes patience, but it pays off. We've been marking them anywhere from 23 to 25 feet down, the little groups going by. So we've been fortunate enough to catch one on a blob. It had chironomids in it. So I'm changing up to kind of a olive with anti-static bag, brown olive, and seeing, give them what they're eating. But fishing deep is a challenge. So we're going to try with the indicator first. We're kind of getting to the end of the effective use of this. We're going to hang it about 25, 26 feet down under an indicator. And the challenge with that is the indicator, because of the built-in elasticity that comes with the leader, doesn't release effectively. So other ways to fish deep, I could put a midge tip line on. That is a floating line with a very subtle 1.5 per second tip section that'll kind of bite down, and put 25 feet of leader on and just let that sink right down and then slowly bring it back. I would do that if I saw more active feeding. When that indicator went down with the blob, it was just went under. If that indicator went under sharply, that might say to me that those fish are active, aggressive, they're likely to chase a moving fly. And lastly, we could take a fast sinking type 7 line and literally suspend the fly so it hangs about a foot or two off the bottom, and then slowly bring it up right up to the surface, and the fish will either take it most of the time just off the bottom or follow it up and eat it just as you're about to cast again. The one thing about that dangling method, we call it, is the takes. They are heart-stopping. Like, they will just bend the rod around. The one thing about that method, you know, with the floating line method, you're typically looking at the indicator, watching the floating line for that subtle take. With the dangling method, you can be staring into space. Just do not let go of that rod, because if you leave it beside you, it's gone, right? You think you're fast, you're not that fast. When the fishing's slow, it's always good to change something and maybe have a smack. So that was a peanut bite. I reached down to get a handful of peanuts. As I looked up, and my indicator was gone. So we adjusted the leader, marking fish, you know, anywhere between 22 to 26 feet down. So I picked an average and went to 24. The wind changed direction, and I first cast and a handful of peanuts. Ooh, this is a very nice fish. Holy Hannah, that is very nice. Oh, so let's take this over to the less cluttered side of the boat. I'm just going to take the fly out of the mouth, and I will probably do a throat sample, but that is one beautiful fish, and you can really see the golden hue of these horsefly strain rainbows. So it's not all tippet flies and depth and all that. Sometimes it's just the right amount of food. And these chili and lime kettle cooked peanuts, as soon as I started eating them, the bobber started dropping. Indicator popped, that's good. Because these things run so much. Gather. There we go. Fishing 24 feet down and just letting it hang there. It just pulls under. Oh, these are acrobatic and beautiful fish. The condition of these fish is just nothing short of spectacular. See if I can get it on this side of the boat. Ooh, in you come. Ooh, thanks for swimming in. And the one thing about fishing deep is you don't need, with indicators, you don't need, and I don't think nor should you, make a ridiculously long cast, because that fly is roughly 18 feet below. So when a fish takes that fly and starts to move off, it's going to know pretty soon, almost immediately, that it's not natural food and is going to want to spit it. And of course, that's going to hopefully move the indicator. So, you know, if I'm fishing small flies like chironomids or any small bug, they don't take that with very much effort. They almost inhale it and move on. So that take is going to be very subtle. That indicator may just slide or pull half down or just do something different. And we want to set on that. And of course, the further you are away, there's going to be a delay between recognizing the take and being able to set on it. And you may miss fish. So a lot of times we could be fishing literally a rod length off the boat. As long as we're quiet and not having a party in the boat here and jumping up and down, we shouldn't scare fish. Look at them all. Holy Hannah. Whoa. These fish are just full of energy. I always expect a surge, a final surge, right at the boat. Like that. Fish wants to run, I let him run. I'll tell you this Ambassador Series Stillwater floater with that tippet ring, you know, we've got probably 28 feet of total leader length in this setup, and it just shoots back and forth through the guides, no risk of jamming up. And these fish got some energy. Oh, these fish are so strong. Get that long-handled Moby into the fight. Come here, you. Into the... Oh, that is one beautiful fish. Just gonna get the fly out. Get a good grip. And look at that. Look at that. That is just gorgeous. Let's get them going. And just rockets back down to the bottom. I'm going to do that for as long as they'll let me. We'll talk a bit about our setup here. I've got an Islander 3.6. Love these reels. Canadian made, solid bar stock. It's in red because I'm a Liverpool fan, and I've got my name has been engraved on here, and YNWA, you'll never walk alone. So anyway, long rod. This is a Mystic 10-foot 3-inch M series. Beautiful rod. I love this rod. It's very well priced. We sell them on our online store. We love long rods, lake fishing, for a variety of reasons. You know, we're better roll cast. We use a lot of roll cast with indicators because that can be a tangle prone system. If fish are fighting a fish around the boat and it starts to go near an anchor rope, I can literally extend my arm and keep that fish away. I've got reach. I can steer and control the fish. Whenever we're fishing with wind-induced chop like we have here today, we use river casts. We use reach casts and mends. A longer rod makes that better. We can actually facilitate a slightly more open loop with a longer rod because the casting arc's a little wider. So when you're casting long leaders, weighted flies, indicator systems, we don't need tight loops for that because that can cause tangles. So many benefits for that. The line I'm using is the line I work with, Real Lines. Again, we sell these on our store as well. This is the Rio Ambassador Series indicator line, the Stillwater floater. It features a tippet ring in place of the welded loop. So what this tippet ring allows you to do is when you're fishing like we are today, right now, 18, 19 feet down, if I land a fish, I'm going to have to bring that leader into the guides, and of course I don't want it to bind up like a welded loop might. And also the tippet ring allows you to change lines on the go. I would just bring the leader connection in between here. I use a wooden clothes peg and peg that leader on, take the reel or spool off, attach the new line with the tippet ring, clinch knot, trim the ends, take the clothes peg off, couple of false casts, I've threaded the rod. Right, so that's always a challenge, especially if you're in a float tube or a pontoon boat. So, and this line is specifically designed for casting indicators. Has a short, aggressive front taper. Essentially, the mass of the line is moved towards the tip to help turn over all that length, indicator, fly, swivels, all of that stuff. Turn all that over, and so a great setup for indicator fishing. The head is about 2 line weights heavier, so a 6 weight's got an 8 weight head on it. Again, that's only about 40 grains, which is about 2 business cards in mass, but it's enough. Just makes it easier to cast. It's designed for throwing weight, mass, and long leaders. If you try that with a regular dry fly line, a floating line you'd use for dry flies, the mass of that line is moved away from the tip to facilitate a delicate energy transfer. The fly lands on the water softly, doesn't scare fish. We're not worried about that. We need to get this out there and be castable. Marking fish, and I'm just letting the wind swing this around. And once it gets straight down below me, I'm going to start a really slow hand twist to track these flies back towards me. So I'm covering all of this water to my left, and then I will pull the flies back through. I call it moving the strike zone. Let's say there's 10 feet of visibility around your fly. So that means a fish comes within 10 feet, they can hopefully see your fly, eat it. But if I can take that little circle and move it down here and then retrieve it back 30 feet, when you're fishing lakes, you want to cover the water both horizontally by using presentations that fan or sweep your flies around, and then also vertically by your depth setting, how long you let the line sink or the fly sink, what sink rate of line. So you're always experimenting to find that depth, because once you find the feeding depth, then you're usually going to get some fish. But he just whacked it. I wasn't even looking. Fly is out. Look. Beautiful, healthy, bright, fin perfect. Just let him go, and we'll come back and catch him next year, because I think I'll come back here.